Plenty of tension and plenty of talent in the call room for the 6 heats of the women's 60-metre hurdles.
Megan Mars there of Great Britain is the British champion and made an incredibly interesting comment to me after she won her British title. She said, 60-metre hurdles, it's 5 opportunities to make a mistake. You pick that apart when you think about the psychology of sport. You want to think about opportunities and positivity. But Megan Mars says she gets incredibly nervous because there's 5 chances to make a mistake. But it works for her. She walked away as British champion.
Surely that's a cup half empty approach. 5 opportunities to beat the other people in the race if they make a mistake. Anyway, as you said, she won the national title. Dance music absolutely pumping here in the Štark Arena. Our ears were ringing when we came off air yesterday. Right then, 6 heats of the women's 60-metre hurdles. Top 3 from each, plus the next quickest 6 into the semis. So quite generous qualification. Unlike the men's 8 yesterday, top 2, well, you're nowhere. Sara Lavin, she'll go on the outside for Ireland, 8 times a national champion. Good field here. There's Megan Mars of Great Britain. She will start on the far side. A great event in prospect. They will finish tonight. How will they start this morning? Six heats to come. Full field of 8. Just a confirmation. Top 3 plus 6 non-automatic qualifiers. There's Megan Mars, twice a national indoor champion. British Universities champion a few years ago as well. Ditaji Kambundji, younger sister of Monzon-Guzman Kambundji, who won from lane 8 in the 60 flat. She's a good athlete, European junior champion. Cyréna Samba-Mayela, World Youth silver a few years ago, European under-23 silver last year. Those two amongst the quickest in the field. Thea Niatseva of Madagascar, then to Erandonia, twice a national champion for Spain. Liu, Asian indoor champion from Hong Kong. Matilda Meltbech, 3 times a national champion for Denmark. And nearest the camera, Sara Lavin, semi-finals in the European indoors last year. She's gone 8:06. and might be in the shake-up perhaps for the third spot if all goes well.
On your mark.
Kambundji in 2, Samba-Mayela of France in 3. Those two the quickest of the 8, but remember, top 3 guaranteed to come back for the semis later on this evening. Lavin in 8 will be nearest the camera.
Set.
A good start. Kambundji and Samba-Mayela going really well. The Frenchwoman trying to pull away. Samba-Mayela from Kambundji, and Lavin did indeed take the third spot nearest the camera. Watching for the time, unofficially, that's 7.91. That is great running by the young Frenchwoman. It really is a confident piece of qualification. And where older sister delivered yesterday from lane 8, younger sister did the business from lane 2, also coming home inside 8 seconds. And Lavin, in taking third, has knocked 100th of a second off her PB. Good running from the top 3.
Samba-Mayela and Kambundji, they could have tensed up, they could have put each other under pressure, but instead they almost seem to work together to drive themselves towards that line in fantastic times. And Sarah Lavin, much like the older Kambundji yesterday, really looked after herself in lane 8, stuck to her task. There's the Irish woman on your screens there. We've talked about running personal bests, it's always good, but running personal bests at a World Championships to make a semi-final. Great run from the Irish athlete out there in lane 8. Pretty even at the start. Kambundji and Samba-Mayela is working really well in lane 2 and 3 there. Sometimes it's hard when you have opposite lead legs like they do. They're just going over the hurdle with their same lead leg. They probably clashed arms a few times, but they managed to hold it together, no problems. And Sarah Lavin out there in lane 8, driving hard to that finish line to pick up that third place. See the French and the Swiss athletes side by side. You often see this in the men's high hurdles as well. These lanes are so narrow indoors, and to have those arms flailing around towards each other is hard work, but they've done well there. Sometimes I think they consciously or subconsciously adjust slightly within the lane to kind of go, hang on a minute, I'm a right leg lead runner next to a left leg lead runner.
Excellent running from Cyréna Samba-Mayela, safely through to the semis. So too Kambundji. Lavin wasn't the only athlete to produce a PB. Helpbatch with 8:07 might be in the mix for a non-automatic spot. Remember, there are 6 available.
We're collecting 6 non-automatic qualifiers. I'm going to hedge my bet. I'd say 8-10. Out that it might take to make that semi-final later on this evening. Mette Gravesgaard there of Denmark. We will see her in this second heat. Traditional athlete face slap. And I like in the next clip, if we stay with these women, you can see what you're talking about, Rob, these 50,000 bolts that are holding up the ceiling. These athletes leave the call room and walk underneath this stadium. Like we've said, it's normally a basketball stadium. You can see there, that's a purpose-built floor that the track is then on top of. So it's really quite a building site under there.
A feat of modern engineering. But I love the fact that no matter how advanced the sport gets, we're still old school. We still love numbers and the safety pins.
Now, this is something I find fascinating in the power events. I found it hard to relate to this as an endurance runner, but the power athletes will go and lift like that to activate their muscles, to get themselves really ready for these powerful events. As an endurance runner, I couldn't ever contemplate that, but it's very widely practiced among the power athletes.
I love the fact that in athletics you can have a 7-stone 10,000 metre runner standing next to an 18-stone shot putter, and they're in the same sport. So a little recap on the heat map. Watch for Samba-Mayela, the third line from the top, 30.7. She hit top speed at 30 and actually slowed down a fraction, but she'd already done more than enough.
Isn't that interesting there, Sarah Lavin? Her fastest point, kind of off that last hurdle-ish. That would be my guess. That's after the 5th hurdle. So finding her greatest speed in that very last section of the race. That's very different than the rest of the field.
And her reward was a PB.
Bodes well for an outdoor season. If you're looking for 100-metre hurdles and you're able to be hitting your top speed halfway through that at 50 metres. Maybe she got a maybe she got a slower start, and just maybe there's even more in the tank there for the Irish woman. But Kambundji sort of conversely hitting her fastest point 20 metres into the race.
One down, 5 to go. And the male heptathletes, no sooner have they done their 60 hurdles, they're back out for the marathon session of pole vault action. No rest for them. We'll be keeping across that one to see whether Warner can stay ahead of Ehammer of Switzerland. That will take a long, long time to unfold. This race should be over in about 8.1 seconds.
But if these women are successful today, it's a long old day for them as well. Starting these heats around 10 o'clock in the morning here, local time. 6:15 for their semi-final, 9:05 tonight for their final. I'm sure De Lazzaro of Italy would love to come back in this afternoon session and run that semi-final. Settling those nerves, you can see the athletes taking deep breaths, trying to soak up the atmosphere. Yeranova here of the Czech Republic. She'll be in lane 5. Great lane draw for the Czech champ. I'm sure that yawn is more to do with nerves than actual fatigue there for Mika Chinalem. She's
That's a massive yawn.
It really goes hand in hand with nerves, yawning. It's a really, really close association, unfortunately. But I'm sure she'll be raring to go in a minute. But lane 2 will be Mette Gravesgaard. Multiple PBs this season, culminating in a national record of 8:02. So keep your eye on lane 2 there with Gravesgaard. Chin Alim of Holland. Looks like she's woken up. Elsa De Lazzaro, she's an Olympian from Italy. 8:11, her season's best. Will need to be right up with that if she wants a spot in the semi-final. Lane 5, Helena Yeranova, Czech champion. In lane 6, she's the fastest out of all the entrants here today in this event, Daniela Williams. She has done 8 competitions this season and won all 8 of them. On her outside, Bikrita Verlin, one of Estonia's finest flat and hurdlers in the sprint events. Ivana Lončarek of Croatia. Complete the lineup in lane 8. She's could challenge for a spot in this semi-final. That lane 8 is treating people very well in this championships. Gravesgaard in 1, Williams in 6. For me, some of the fastest athletes in this field. Hiranova of the Czech Republic in there of lane 5 as well. Top 3 automatically through to this afternoon's semi-final.
Set.
And they're away cleanly. Looks like Williams is going to lead over the first hurdle, and it is Danielle Williams. Oh, she's clattered that. What a surprise. The pre-event favourite, the world lead, clattered that 3rd hurdle, left the door open. Gravesgaard took advantage of that. Chin Alim coming through for 2nd place. De Lazzaro for 3rd. Oh, it's a tricky event. Maybe she heard Megan Mars say it's 5 chances for a mistake, but what a shock there with Danielle Williams. World number 1 will exit this championships in the very first round.
8 out of 8 coming in to these World Indoor Championships, and she is going to face a very, very long wait to see if she can take one of those non-automatic spots, and I'm not sure she's going to be quick enough, you know, and she knows it. Gravesgaard, who you mentioned had produced a national record this year, she got a really good start in lane 1. She was quite far away from the trouble and the pressure, and she dragged Chinjalim from the Netherlands alongside her. That is Gravesgaard. Tinjalim was second. Gravesgaard, just looking at the scoreboard, she can hardly believe it. A brilliant piece of running her own race. That's the block cam from the back of Danielle Williams in lane 6. Now, watch Williams, third from the left, and keep your eye on Gravesgaard, far right. Excellent start by the Dane, and she kept it going and dragged the Dutch woman with her. There's the big problem for Williams, and once she started coming under pressure, she just went further and further back. Because the race is so short, very little time in which to recover. Look at the extent of the interruption to her momentum. This is fine. Very relaxed. That one's okay as well. Now, does she take her eye off it? Just one of those mistakes. She's almost lucky, really, to stay on her feet. Then she shatters that penultimate barrier, which split in half. And that pretty much sums up her race. She's finished in 6th, 8.23. And that is surely not going to be quick enough to go through as one of the non-automatic qualifiers. Good run from Gravesgaard of Denmark, far right of picture in lane 1.
That head-on shot shows a little bit more for me, because I think Williams, she looked like she was, I almost thought she was going to do a Damien Warner and recover. She's so talented. I thought this is going to be all right. She looked like she maintained some momentum off that third hurdle, but breaking that fourth hurdle, that explains why she lost even more momentum. And there's that official result for the women's 60-metre hurdles. Mette Gravesgaard, Maika Chinalim, and Lisa De Lazaro, your automatic qualifiers into this afternoon's semi-final. Daniela Williams with 8.23. Don't fancy the chances of that being fast enough to go through as a non-automatic qualifier.
Well, that's the barrier that was split in half by Danielle Williams. I haven't seen that too many times, you know. You've seen them crashing over, but not splitting and staying upright.
You say you've got a man of sort of Damien Warner's strength and height, and he didn't break one. That really shows the speed and the power that Danielle Williams must have hit into that fourth hurdle. Despite hitting the third, she was still going fast enough and strong enough to break a hurdle.
Wow, great drama. The fastest woman in the world this year, very unlikely to go through. She is in a non-automatic spot at the moment, but as we can see, many more heats to come. We've got 6 in total. The athletes from heat 5 just making their way in to continue their preparations. And there is Venezuela's Jovani Mota, national record holder indoors and out, South American junior champion a few years ago. She'll go in lane 1 in heat 3. So the favourites don't always make it. That is why we love watching live sport, because you just don't know what's going to happen in the heat of battle. Zoë Sedney of the Netherlands will be one of the fastest to go in this third heat. And watch out for Gabriele Cunningham as well, who'll go in lane 7. The women getting ready for the high jump final. Really looking forward to this one. They go straight in to a final, and Jaroslav Mahučík, arguably the favourite for the gold. What an unbelievable talent she is for somebody so young.
Coming into this competition, you know, if you're sat here in December going, Jaroslava Mahučík, Olympic Games got bronze medal, world silver medal, European indoor gold, surely she's going to win the World Indoor Championships. But Eleanor Patterson has been such a revelation this indoor season. The Australian athlete hasn't done indoors a lot. We've seen a lot of Australians debuting indoors at this championships and this season. But Eleanor Patterson, for me, is the one to beat. She's going to give Jaroslava Mahučík a real battle in that women's high jump competition.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see how they both line up in that competition. I'll never forget Mahučík storming up to that world junior record, 2:04 in a world senior final. One hurdle comes out, a replacement is found. What is it they say? Proper planning and preparation prevent poor performance. Good work by the organisers. They had some spares. We are good to go, and this is the reason it was needed. Not that one. I think she might have snapped this one. Was it with her knee? Yeah. That's so strange that it broke so easily. Danielle Williams, the fastest woman in the world this year, down in 6th in Heat 2. So, replacements found. We carry on. Heat 3 of 6. That's Benach, national indoor champion last year for Spain. She'll go in lane 4. Good quality in this one. They all want to make sure they're back for the semis tonight. Yoveni Mota, South American junior champion a few years ago in 1, 8-12 this year. Vanessa Clairvaux, the Haiti Islands, 6 in the Pan American Games. Then Zoë Sedney, European indoor finalist last year. She won the Madrid Tour event, so she's in fine form. Inside 8 seconds this season. Xenia Benach, very good heptathlete. She's gone 8:06. Victoria Forster of Slovakia might need a PB, national indoor champion this year. Maribel Caicedo, national indoor record holder for Ecuador. Gabi Cunningham, 7th in the Olympic final last year. Brilliant flat speed, former Pan American junior bronze medalist over the 200. She should be the favourite for this one. And Liz Clay will be nearest the camera in what's turning out to be a pretty lucky lane 8. Remember, the Southern Hemisphere nations coming here off the back of their outdoor season.
On your marks.
Now watch for Sedney of the Netherlands in 3. Benach of Spain perhaps in the shake-up in 4, along with Clay nearest the camera. But the favourite will be Gabi Cunningham, who will be second from bottom, second nearest the camera. Brilliant performer this season. That's Caicedo of Ecuador. She'll be in lane 6. Top 3 coming back for the semis. Oh, now, was it the Spaniard? She got up very quickly in the centre lane. Somebody got up very fast. It was one of the 2 centre lanes. I thought perhaps initially it was the Spaniard. She's in lane 4, so watch. Yep, it was her. Now, Xenia Benach, national indoor champion last year. She might be about to have an early exit. We never like to see athletes disqualified, but rules are rules, and she got a flyer.
You can see that poor woman there in the turquoise t-shirt. She's had this bad job all weekend. I think it will be an early exit for the Spanish athlete. You can see the emotions pouring out.
I hate these moments. It's nothing against the sport because they are the rules, but if you spent your life around athletics, you know how hard these athletes have trained for this opportunity. Such a shame. She's getting a really sympathetic round of applause from the Serbian crowd, but these moments are awful. Are you the same, Hannah? I find these moments so hard to watch because you know how much it means to them.
These athletes, they can look calm and controlled and that they're enjoying it and this, that and the other, and that just shows you what it really means to these athletes.
On your marks.
Such a shame for the Spaniard. However, we move on. Mota in 1, Clairvaux in 2, Sedney 3, Forster 5, Caicedo of Ecuador in 6, Cunningham the favourite in 7, Clay nearest the camera for Australia in 8. 7 women for 3 places in the semi-finals tonight.
Set.
Little bit of a wobble there from Sedney, but they are away well. The Dutch woman going well, and now Gabi Cunningham coming through on the bottom, and Cunningham dragged Clay with her. They should be the 3 qualifiers. Sedney got a really good start there, despite having a fraction of a wobble just before the gun went. But Gabi Cunningham, the fastest in the field on paper, 7.93. Clay would have been more than happy to tag along for the ride, 7.96, great time from her. Sedney 8 seconds on the nose, and Mota and Clairvaux with 8.02 and 8.06 might well be in the shake-up for 2 of the non-automatic spots. Good running from Cunningham.
5 athletes under 8-1 in one race. That was a really high quality race, even losing the Spanish athlete, Benach. Gabriele Cunningham was doing really well in that latter stage, but you're right, Sedney did get a good start. I don't know if she took her foot off the gas, if she felt that she'd already won the race so she could relax. All these athletes would have been nervous after that false start to see the reality of that emotion shoved in your face and worrying whether it would happen to you. But Cunningham and Clay working really well in lane 7 and 8. So we saw from Samba-Mayela and Kambundji in the first heat, 2 athletes working together to pull away from the field. Cunningham taking the win, Clay just behind her. I think she would have beat Zoë Sedney by just a few hundredths of a second there.
Well, we saw one of the favourites clatter the barriers and shatter the barriers in the second of the heats. That was Danielle Williams. No problem in this one for the favourite, Gabby Cunningham. Not the quickest start, but came through really well for that 7.93. Sedney, 7.98, and Clay, 7.99. So all 3 inside 8 seconds. That was really good running. Gabby Cunningham taking that 3rd heat. Zoë Sedney and Liz Clay also dipping inside 8 seconds. Clay with a PB, national indoor record for Mota of Venezuela, and Claveau of Haiti with a season's best. They will have to wait and see if they can sneak through as 2 of the 6 fastest non-automatic qualifiers. Oh, so disappointing for Benach, especially to see her going off in tears. But that, you know, those rules are in place for a reason. But you know, it would take a heart made of stone if you follow the sport not to have a little sympathy for her as she went off.
The balance between nerves and composure is really exposed there in that 60 metres. You can see that empty lane there for Benach. And have a look at how the other athletes fared. Look at that start from Cunningham. Didn't come across to the naked eye. We were looking at Sedney. She was doing so well at 30 metres. You can see that dip there from Sedney. Perhaps not taking her hurdles quite as well as the other athletes. But look at Cunningham. Much like Sarah Lavin in the first heat, hitting her fastest point quite late on in the race there. She was the fastest in the field. Versus Clay sort of maintaining that. But you want to see that dip from Sedney. I wonder if she did hit a hurdle or lose some momentum there. Good enough for 2nd place in that graphic there. I think it was given us 3rd overall once it all got sorted out in the wash.
All 3 of them inside 8 seconds. Really good running. 3 down, 3 to go.
Straight back out with this heat 4 of the women's 60 metre hurdles. Vitória Batista Alves of Brazil. This lady, Michelle Harrison of Canada, she's closed her cake shop this week. She said, I'm busy in Serbia, you're going to have to get your cakes later. Lane 3, Alaysha Johnson, she's the fastest in the field. Thea Eriksson, national record for the British Virgin Islands this season. And lane 5, a Serbian athlete, Anja Lukic. Listen to that roar. The Serbian athletes have really risen to the occasion so far in the 3 sessions we've seen. Can Lukic do that here in this women's 60 metres? Lane 6 was the Andrea Vargas, Costa Rica's only athlete. Oh, unfortunately, no Vargas, so no Costa Rica here. The final athlete will be Ana Maria Nestorovic of Romania. 2 times Balkan champion, a bit isolated out there in lane 6. Lane 7 is empty. She'll be out there on her own in lane 8. A few athletes missing that. So what can Nestorovic of Romania do out there on her own? She's fast enough on paper to go through to the semi-final, but she's got a hard job judging her effort out there on her own. Alaysha Johnson there. She's the fastest on paper from USA.
Set.
Clean start this time. Great start from the Serbian athlete, but it is USA versus Canada. USA versus Canada. It will be Alaysha Johnson from Michelle Harrison, Anna Maria Nestorovic of Romania, doing a great job out there in that lucky lane 8. But Alaysha Johnson didn't get the fastest of starts for me. I would have expected her to get a faster start with her 7.9 from this season. But Michelle Harrison bringing her best to the occasion. That will be a personal best for the Canadian if that's confirmed. And Nestorovic composing herself well. It wasn't the fastest time we've seen in these races for an automatic qualifying time, but got the job done nonetheless.
She was the last to rise, Michelle Harrison. Maybe that contributed to the slightly below par start you were referring to. But once she got into her rhythm, she looked really, really good. Beautiful, beautiful flowing running over those barriers. A strange heat, that one, with 2 non-starters, no lane 6 or lane 7. So you're right, Nestorovic of Romania, nearest the camera, might as well have been on a training run, but it was good enough to bring her home in 3rd, 8.13, so she's through to the semis tonight. Lukic had a good start and then drifted outside the top 3, but Harrison, 3rd from the right-hand side, really beginning to show her class here. One of the fastest women in the world this year, although, as we saw from Danielle Williams in 2, that's no guarantee of anything, but that was a good run, and you suspect there's more in the tank from her come the semis tonight. I mean, when it comes to the sprint hurdles, especially the women's sprint hurdles, it's like a conveyor belt coming out of the United States, isn't it? The strength and depth is ridiculous.
It really is. Oh, look at that. I love that celebration there from Alaysha Johnson over the line. His head-on replay. Ericsson there of the British Virgin Islands, struggling over that first hurdle, clipping it hard. It was all about Alaysha Johnson from that point onwards. Perhaps taking a safe start. Maybe she saw the false start there of Zina Benac in the heat before. Sometimes that can rattle your nerves and you think, I'll just go safe and make sure I advance through these rounds.
Truman took the first, Grevesgaard of Denmark the second, Cunningham the third, Alaysha Johnson the fourth. The only big casualty so far, Danielle Williams of Jamaica. There's one of the favourites for Heat 5, Anna Zagreb. Well, the Belgians have already got 1 gold. That came from Noor Witz in the women's pentathlon. Zagreb has made 3 successive Olympic semi-finals, 4 successive World Championship semi-finals, and was just off the podium twice in the Europeans outdoors. Could she get close to the podium? Her PB is 7.98. She's going to need to get there or thereabouts. One of the other athletes, or 2 of the other athletes I'm looking forward to seeing in this heat, Herska of Finland, who should in theory be going in lane 5, and Devynne Charlton of Bahamas in 6. Devynne Charlton, cameras focusing in on her. She made the final 4 years ago and was 6th in the Olympic final last year. She's very close to the times that took her to the showdown back in Birmingham, which feels like it was an absolute lifetime ago. So she should be the favourite for this one, going in lane 6. There's Zagra on the inside. So many times she's been in World Championship and Olympic semi-finals, but she edged closer to a maiden global final. And 7.98 coming 5 years ago now. 8.09 this season, so she's in decent form.
Just casting my eye over those non-automatic qualifying spots, I want to say about 8.15 is enough to get one of those 6 non-automatic qualifying spots at this point, but we've got 2 heats to go still.
So we start with Zagra, who'll be in lane 2 3 times. She's missed out on the final at the Olympic Games. Could she go closer here? Claudia Bochunik, European Under-23 bronze last year. Big shout from her. Suzuki, 3rd in the Japanese national champs. Then Zapalska, 2nd in the German national champs. Then to Charlton, out in lane 6. Devynne Charlton made the final 4 years ago. Herska was supposed to be running. She would have been quite hotly fancied, the Finn, but no appearance from her. That was Venestein of Sweden in 7. And Batista, South American indoor champion this year. She'll be nearest the camera in lane 8.
On your marks.
Zagra, Bochunik, Suzuki, Zapalska, Charlton, Venestein, Batista. Charlton the favourite in lane 6.
Set.
A clean start. Charlton getting away well. She's dragging Zapalska with her, and on the far side, Zagra going well. Those 2 miles clear of the rest. Really good qualification from Charlton in 6 and Anna Zagra of Belgium over in lane 2. A little swagger as the Bahamian walks away, as Zagra looks for confirmation. 8.02 with Zagra just 300s behind. It was very close for the 3rd automatic spot. Venestein of Sweden being given the nod at the moment, to the delight of the Swedes in the crowd, who've just realised that their athlete has taken the 3rd spot. There she is. So, good running. Bahamas, Belgium and Sweden safely through. Charlton, pretty impressive there.
We've seen most of our women that have done sub-8 this season, apart from Danielle Williams, really looking quite comfortable in this first round. It's a great start there in lane 5 for the German, but the Bahamian athlete just powering away, building momentum through the whole race, as was Zagra of Belgium on the inside. The Bahamian was just too powerful over those last 2 flights, coming away in the end with a comfortable 8.02. I wonder if we'll see some sub-8s in that semi-final. That's what it might take to secure your place comfortably without any stress into the final. Not that you could clock into your internal calculator, I fancy an 8.02 today, but if you could, that might be just about perfect to navigate this first round of the women's 60-metre hurdles.
I think sub-8 is definitely going to be required by some of them to get through, especially if they go for the usual 2+2 non-automatics across the 3 semi-finals. So, Charlton was away and clear. Zagra was clearly in 2nd, and this was the moment, got to be friends and family, surely, of Julia Venestein. You could hear them. There's only 4 of them, but you could hear them above everybody else as soon as they realised that Venestein had taken that 3rd automatic spot. Really sweet. Interesting result here from Heat 5. Devynne Charlton and Anna Zagra were clearly in 1st and 2nd. Venestein had initially been given 3rd, but they've now reversed it by 1,000th of a second, giving Zapowska the third automatic spot and relegating the Swede down to fourth.
It's a real shame there for Julia Vennesten. Can't see their facial expressions, I can see those four across the stadium from us.
Last heat of the women's 60 hurdles to come.
We'll start on the inside with Malone Jean, Haitian Olympic semi-finalist. Her outside will be Anna Politsina, multiple-time national champion for Ukraine. Her personal best, it'd be great if she can get down near that. That would get her into that semi-final. But this lady, Brittany Anderson, she ran 12.4 in the Olympic Games semi-final, and in her own words, messed up that final. She's seen Danielle Williams exit this competition in the first heat. Could this Jamaican be one to watch for a final? Christophe of Cyprus in 5, lane 6, Ebony Morrison, Bolivia. Lane 7, Elsevette Pisserudu, and completing the lineup in lane 8, Noemi Zbären of Switzerland. She was part of the Monzon-Guzman celebrations last night. Her sister, Ditaji Kambundji, looked pretty comfortable in that first heat.
Just a quick update. They've swapped Vennesten and Zapowska back once again. Vennesten, who was initially third in the previous heat, then relegated to fourth by 1,000th of a second. They've swapped them back over, 1,000th between them. The Swede with the third automatic spot. Zapowska now once again relegated to fourth.
Let's hope her fan club get news of that pretty quickly. We're away. This is the final heat of the women's 60-metre hurdles. Anderson for Jamaica looking good on the inside, but check out that lane 8. Lane 8 has been extraordinarily kind to the Swiss athletes, and it is again for Noemi Zbären. She's done sub-8 this year, but look what that means to the Swiss athlete. Automatic qualification, beating some fantastic athletes inside her. Brittany Anderson looked like she was in control of that. It must be some go faster strips in the last 20 metres of that lane 8. Noemi Zbären there of Switzerland. She was second at their national championships to Ditaji Kambundji. She has ran fantastically well there to win her heat in a new personal best, 7.95.
What is going on with lane 8? Brilliant from Kambundji late last night, and it was a similar dynamic to this race because it was a steady start from Zbären, nearest the camera. Brittany Anderson came under a little bit of pressure. She took the third automatic spot in the end. Ebony Morrison ran brilliantly. The Liberian got away well and came under pressure, but she came home ahead of Brittany Anderson. But look at the way Zbären streaks away. She's pulling ahead of Brittany Anderson all the time in the last 15 metres. Massive PB. She looked brilliant there.
She really did. It was a good start from Ebony Morrison. Caught the whole field unawares, but she didn't disturb Noemi Zbären, Switzerland. Brittany Anderson, that was possibly a bit of a tougher heat than she might have anticipated when she saw that lineup this morning. Brittany Anderson doing what her teammate couldn't do. We saw Danielle Williams break that hurdle. Brittany Anderson favouring well to keep the Jamaican hopes alive in this event. But the Swiss hopes have got to be pretty good at the moment. Look at them, they're very happy. Glad they've put on those silly necklaces and that silly face paint. Never mind the glasses. They do not look stupid now. There's the result of that 6th and final heat of the women's 60-metre hurdles. Victory for Switzerland's Zbären. Ebony Morrison for Liberia in 2nd. Brittany Anderson of Jamaica getting 3rd. Look at that national indoor record for the Liberian, breaking her own mark. 8 seconds and 9.
So Danielle Williams from heat 2, the big casualty. Samba-Mayela took the first heat, and that turned out to be the quickest time. Good work from Gabriele Cunningham. Zbären taking that last heat wonderfully from lane 8. Younger sister of Monzon-Guzman, Kambundji, Dicha, safely through. So too Zoë Sedney. Anna Zagra qualified from lane 1 for Belgium, so the outside lanes were good value across those 6 qualifiers. Helpbach did indeed make it through as a non-automatic qualifier with that 8:07. So too Mota of Venezuela. I thought 8:05 would be good enough. Erandonia also making it through as one of the 6 with 8:12. The list of qualifiers goes on. And the slowest of the non-automatic athletes to make it through, Anna Plotysynia from Ukraine, joining the best of the rest with 8:17. A brilliant set of semi-finals to come, but without the fastest woman in the world this year. Danielle Williams crashing out in Heat 2. She made it to the finish line, but not before breaking a barrier and bringing her brilliant indoor season to an unceremonious end. Hard to know who's looking the sharpest there. There's 4 or 5 who you'd think could well get in the mix there. It's going to be a fascinating set of semis.